And welcome back to Hanging Cable South Africa with myself, Keith Botha, and Cliffy Ogle on Raceday.tv. Still in our home headquarters. Cliff, how are you today, buddy? Cliffy, how are you doing today, bud? Can you hear me on that side?
I gave my wife a nice. Oh, yeah, I can hear you, Keith. But yeah, I gave my wife just one simple task today to say to her, please, can she get the office ready for our production this afternoon? And if you look behind me, you can see cabin fever set in it. And she went to town. So yeah, I'm in a bit of a foreign land at the moment, but it looks so colorful.
Yeah, I think it looks amazing, and I think this is a good opportunity to just also shout out to everyone that supports us at Raceday.tv and Hanging Cable, Suomy South Africa, Hell's Kitchen in Melville, Ink Monkey, Watswaye, Bottomside Productions, Provisional Productions, and the Catch22DeadRabbit Racing team. This is all about
Keith, obviously we've lost Keith, but exciting show this evening. I see Keith's moving again, which is good news. But yeah, we've got an exciting show. We've got some Bridgestone Challenge riders joining us this evening in the studio, and looking forward to hearing their thoughts because they're flying the Vic Rich flag for the season. So exciting to talk to them.
Cliffy, am I here? Can you hear me?
I can see and hear you. And I must say, I mean, between you and
I don't know. Sorry. Okay. I think we should jump straight into it.
Yeah, let's do that.
This is really not working tonight. I don't know if it's the gremlins in my internet or anywhere, but definitely there are viruses out and about. Guys, I think without further ado, let's get into the fun part of our show on Hanging Cable South Africa on Raceday. Zaidy Williams, number 18. This is a person that I've raced against a lot of times last year. He's a great racer. He ended up in second place, runner-up to Nasif Wadala in the Bridgestone Challenge last year. Zaidy, welcome to the show, young man. It's nice to have you.
Thanks to you guys for having me. Hi, Keith, and how you doing, Mr. Suomy?
Good on you, bud. It's good to see you, man. We've missed racing against you, but it's good to see that you're keeping fit and healthy.
Missing all the faces, man. Can't wait to get back to the racetrack.
For sure.
Zaidy,
but you jump in, Keith. Sorry, man.
Oh my gosh, I really hoped it was one of those days. I almost missed the show because I was running late and I didn't even leave the house today. The technical issues has been immense. It is what it is. Zaidy, you mentioned now you're staying busy and stuff during lockdown, and Cliff, you know, we have been missing racing and everyone's been doing things, but no one's sure what they've been doing. You as a rider that's now gone from a privateer to a team rider for Vic Rich and the Rich Racing team, what do you in the time like this? I mean, no one can, prepare for a time like this. No one saw it coming. But you had one race in the beginning of the year that you did really well. The second race, you had issues with the bike and you had an unfortunate off with the Zontas Cup. But in times like this, do you have expectations from a team to stay fit and do marketing and promotions and that kind of thing? And what do you do in a time like this to help, stay fit and stay in shape for racing?
Well, guys, to be completely honest, it has been a very difficult time for all of us. I'm sure, everybody can account to that. But basically, I keep myself busy throughout the day. I mean, I've developed, or I've now put together a routine exercise that I do every morning, and obviously keeping fit is the most important part, because we don't want to go back to the racing whereby we started off the season with a bang and then we get back, and because we in this form or we haven't kept fit or we haven't exercised or anything like that, it really plays a big impact has an impact on our racing, so I keep myself busy throughout the day, and we have also now encountered the fasting period for the Muslims. So it's kind of very difficult, we're fasting, training, and we do a lot of marketing as well, or we try to post as much as we can, but unfortunately with the with the posting and the marketing story, I haven't had a lot of pictures on my new branding or my new bike, my new team, so it's kind of very difficult because, all we can do is basically thank the sponsors basically for backing us through this tough time, for obviously keeping us motivated and things like that, and we do the best that we can by keeping fit day by day and doing whatever exercise we can, we all wish to be back on the bike really soon, and yeah, we want to get there in a proper form.
Keith, can I jump in there? Because Zaidy, for the viewers at home, whatever, and I mean, I know Keith's raced against you at length last season and that, but can you tell us a bit about yourself? Because, when I picked you up on my radar, you were racing against Keith, and then all of a sudden you were off to Zimbabwe and then landed yourself a factory ride. Can you tell us how that all came about?
So it all started towards the last quarter of 2017. I was invited to watch a race which one of my ex-team members / new rivals has now introduced me to the sport, and it was a tough decision to make because I was a road rider at the time, and obviously taking that feeling from being on the road and having to go and put it onto the racetrack was a completely different story. You then learn that first of all it's the better option between the two. Second of all, it teaches you a lot from riding the motorcycle to learning how to corner the motorcycle to getting out of the bend as soon as possible. You're on the gas as fast as you want. It teaches you a hell of a lot, and throughout this time I was fortunate enough at the end of 2019, raced the entire season. It was quite difficult. There were a lot of ups and downs that we had. Obviously the bike breaking, a few crashes that we had as well, and I went through a stage where I actually thought racing was not for me, to be honest with you. I was a bit demotivated from all the crashes and stuff like that, and I decided to give it one last shot towards the 2019 season, and to my surprise and hard work and dedication and motivation, of course, we managed to complete that season second, basically runner-up to Nasif Vadvala, and it was a learning curve. Mostly being on the 600 as well. I took the 600 down to Zimbabwe to race the 1 hour endurance race over there, and that weekend was quite fun and interesting to do because we started off with a sprint race, which had about 8 laps, which is our normal race time that we've given. It had about 8 laps, and I had a good fight with one of the local guys over there, which is very quick, Matthew Schultz. He unfortunately beat me over the line by 0.2 of a second, and heading into the endurance race I was very motivated, because I felt that I had the pace. We were running quite strong, and obviously I had a good team backing me as well. Vic Rich is a lovely man. He's very, very learned and experienced in the things that he does. He has been in the game for a very long time. If you look at the riders that come from the team itself, they were all very good, successful riders. There's a lot of names to mention, but I won't lie, heading down to Zimbabwe was a different experience, and if I could, I would advise the guys to maybe try it out, give it a shout this time and see. I enjoyed it. You guys might enjoy it as well. They do need the support and the riders over there as well. So towards the end of the year, we are heading back to Zimbabwe, and I'm very excited. I was on the podium. I took a third like 1 hour endurance. But I'm looking at pushing really hard this year and hoping to come home with a better result, yeah, of course, I was just invited by the team, in actual fact, not to leave that out. Vic had invited me, Mr. Rich had invited me at the end of the year to participate or to join him and the team to do that race. And towards the end of the weekend, I was feeling quite good, and I felt very motivated because I had all these guys and all the backing and stuff like that. And the result was a good result, and after the whole race and stuff like that, we actually sat down, and Vic then invited me to join the Monroe or the Rich Racing team for the 2020 season. And yeah, I mean, it was quite a big surprise, and to be honest, it was it's quite different to riding a normal private as a private guy. You now belong to a team where you need to obviously be professional all the time. You need to obviously do the marketing. You need to uphold yourself. You need to check your character. There's so many things that comes with being with the team. And then obviously I'm joined by my partner Chris Murray, which definitely a good rider. She's up and coming as well. So when I look at her and I look at the team and every single individual that belongs to the team, everybody puts their efforts in, and then that just makes the racing easier. It makes it much more fun, and you look forward to each and every single race, and that's it.
Talking about Chris Marie, we've decided to drop her in early. Chris Marie, hi, how are you doing this evening?
Cold, actually. But yeah,
it doesn't seem like it. Yeah, well, I mean, you need to get some of those hoodies made for you guys. I mean, we are going into winter in this time. I don't know if we'll be able to leave the house soon enough to get kitted up in winter. But welcome to the show. And
thanks for having me, guys.
We've got the Rich Racing team on our show this evening on Playing Cable. We had a bit of a chat with Zaidy. We're going to give you an opportunity to say hi to everyone, and then we'll go into asking you some questions. And then I want to speak to both of you regarding round 1 and 2 at Swartkops and Red Star, and see how that went before we obviously went into lockdown. But just for all the people out there that don't know you or your experience or where you come from, do you want to just introduce yourself to all of us?
Well, I recently just started riding the 600. I've always been on the small bikes since, 2016. Started with a 150, went up to 300s, diced there a little bit. And obviously, I'm a very big girl, which is, I'm very tall. I've always been bigger than most of the girls I ride with. That counted against me a little bit. But climbing on the 600, it has so much more advantages for me as well, because now I'm smaller, and as you can see, my riding style is a bit different because the long legs and all that. But I'm still young, still gonna race even more, and being with the team, amazing team. And yeah, like I said, I'm still up and coming, gonna learn a lot, especially on the 600.
Tiffy? I need to just make sure you're still there.
I know from racing against your old man in 2013, him and I had a few fairing bashing in turn 5 at Swartkops. And your dad's always been involved with it as long as I've known him. When did you decide that you wanted to go Superbike?
Well, I've always been at my father's races when I was younger, and I always said to him, listen, as soon as I get big, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And in 2016, my dad was like, okay, I'm buying you a 150. So I started out on the 150, started, normal track days at Red Star, had my couple of crashes, but my father has been helping me since day one and is still helping me currently. So it was thanks to him that I was getting into all of this, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm very happy. Yeah, look, I want to just say, I wanted to speak to both of you. There's a lot of people online that says hello. Faraz, Nassif, Byron, Craig Hamilton, all of those guys. Thanks to everyone for watching. I do apologize for the bad signal, but we are here with the Rich Racing team with Chris Murray and Zaidy. Guys, just to get back to you, the Bridgestone Challenge round 1. Chris Murray, were you in that round?
No, I didn't.
You didn't make that round. I just wanted to make sure. But Zaidy, you had a good start with your season there. Tell us about that race and what happened there. Because, I mean, the 600 and the 1000s have been split for the 2020 season. And that makes things a bit different to what we used to like last year. And, I mean, I remember when you mentioned your negativity and feeling a bit down and not so pro racing at some point. You know, that's what racing does. And the way you came back from that was amazing. But that's why, you know, is that helped you to start your season off better? And knowing that you're with a better kitted team, is it become more serious? I think is what I'm asking.
Most definitely. I would say, obviously, like I said, with the backing and obviously having a good team such as Rich Racing, Monroe, Fuchs, you know, all other sponsors that has jumped on board and has helped us to get to where we are. You know, it literally has motivated me so much, and it has helped me obviously put my head down and go for whatever I need to. You know, I guess we started off the season quite well. You know, we ended the 2019 season off very well. I mean, I won the last race of the season. We started off the first race of 2020 at the Sportbike Raceway. And I feel that I went into the race with a clear mind, and I felt much better knowing that the fight would be fair. You know, like you mentioned, Keith, last year we raced 600s versus 1000s versus 750s, you know, bring and race whatever you brought, you know, but this year has just motivated me so much more, because now the competition is just fair to the point where everybody, whoever's on the 600, of course, races each other. You know, 1000s then obviously race each other. So you don't have to fight the entire race and then wait to come to the last of the back straight, or just hit the back straight, and then the 1000 flies past you, you know. That was the most demotivating part of the season, I guess. You know, because you fight till the end, and all the 1000 needs to do is literally open up the throttle and it's gone, you know. So we finished off the first race in first place.
Do you remember PE? I mean, that was the worst ever. We were racing. You had the race of your life with Ian. I mean, that track and what we went through when we arrived at that track with the bikes braking, the fork seals, the engine or the clutch cover. Big shout out to all the guys in Iversmark and all the guys in PE in East London for being such cool dudes with racing and helping us out. But exactly, dude,
shout out to those guys.
I just think your whole confidence, your whole demeanor has changed completely. You know, you went through a stage at the mid to end part of last year, which it was very hard to stay positive overall. Between a lot of us, our bike setups weren't lacquer. We were really struggling, and we were quite close last year in terms of the racing thing, doing our thing together and that kind of thing. And we had to do with dealing with the bikes and the setups that weren't working for us. You know, we are there for fun. It's not that serious. But your whole style demeanor this year looks much better, and your confidence level is really high. And that's the thing. You went into round 2 at Red Star quite confident. We had high hopes for the day. I was finally racing against you again in the Zonta series. Just talk us about through that day and that weekend what happened, because I know both of you had some issues, and that's racing. But like there was a lot of chit and chatter and going on around the team. There was a buzz. What happened at Red Star this year?
So we arrived at Red Star on the Friday. To obviously do the practice sessions, and we had the Zontes qualifying towards the end of the day as well. You know, so to start off with everything, I will tell you it was a very tiring weekend for me to get off one bike and jump on the next, you know, because obviously I was planning on racing the 600 as well as the 300, you know, and we arrived there on Friday, and we went out for for the first 2 practice sessions on the 600, and unfortunately the bike gave me a lot of issues with turning and obviously cornering and stuff like that. I felt that the suspension was a bit too hard. You know, the bike wouldn't turn in. It was quite difficult. And as we all know, Raceday is a very, very challenging track. You know, your bike needs to be set up correctly and as best as possible for you. You know, so towards the end of the day, I decided that I'm going to give it one last try to go out on the last qualifying, I mean on the last practice, and feel how the bike feels. And unfortunately, on my way out on the second lap, the quick shifter then broke. You know, so I basically then just backed out and I said, you know, it's not my day today. You know, I didn't feel very comfortable on the bike. I wasn't very confident as well. And I decided just to back out of the Bridgestone Challenge race and obviously head into the Zontes, whereby I had a good feel on the bike the entire weekend. I mean, I qualified, if I remember correctly, I qualified about, I think, 15th on that grid. And we were quite a lot of guys on the Zontes. And a point that Chris Maria has actually pointed out earlier on regarding when she raced the smaller bikes, the weight was always the disadvantage for me on the Zontes. You know, we had smaller guys like Luca, Cam, William Friend. All those guys are much smaller than what we are, you know, and unfortunately with me pushing that bike to the limit, or I tried pushing it, on lap 2, if I remember correctly, lap 2, we were heading down turn 4, and I had just passed John Johnston on the back straight, and as I was about to exit the corner, I had just stuck the front and lost it completely. I had a bit of a scare on that crash because while I was rolling and going with the bike and the whole motion, the two riders behind me, unfortunately, the one had knocked me on my helmet. You know, so he gave me an extra boost. And then the other guy, unfortunately, had just clipped my arm, you know, and unfortunately, the one rider did go down, the other rider managed to stay up, you know, and when I got up from that crash, the first thing I thought was, well, my arm is broken because I've never felt anything, you know, I think I haven't felt something impact me in that way, you know, and unfortunately, we got up from unfortunately, managed to get up from the crash and walk away.
Yeah.
And I had to do a few x-rays and go to the hospital and stuff like that and have myself checked out. And about a month back, I managed to get the clearance from the doctors giving the go-ahead for me to race again, you know, and that just had boosted me. Unfortunately, with the coronavirus and the pandemic that we're going through, you know, it has taken a lot out of someone or a rider's mind. You know, you sit at home, you're frustrated, you don't know what to do. You know, I'm sure you guys can tell as well. You know, and all you can actually do is just prepare yourself mentally. You know, physically you can only do that much, but I think the mental preparation is the most important right now. You know, we all need to go back knowing that we're gonna go back and push and try our best. You know, we have sponsors that we need to. Obviously, how can I say, we need to show them that we're still motivated. We need to show them that we still want to do it, you know, and I don't think I've ever felt this strong going into a race season. So I'm looking quite forward to getting back to the 2020 season. And unfortunately, I will be racing the Monaco series, where I'll be joining my teammate, Chris Murray. So I'll no longer be with you guys at the Bridgestone. I'm hoping to do a few races where we combine, and we'll obviously see how the year works out, and we might meet up again. But I'm off to a brand new challenge, so that's something I need to obviously prepare myself for as well. You know, and we can hope for everything to.
No, I'm joking. That's unfortunate. But I just wanted to go back to Chris Marie. Sorry, while we were talking about crashes, Chris Marie, did you not have a quite a high-speed crash recently?
Yes, I did. I went on a track day to Raceday, you know, getting some practice on the big 600. Went down on the back straight at Raceday, tried to, you know, get brakes. There wasn't anything. And if I tell you now, I kid you not, it was one of the most scariest ever moments, because when you go down that back straight, I think I was on 230, 240 kilometers per hour, and when you pull and there's no brakes, jeez, I can just remember as soon as the brakes took, like the bike just flipped me, like as soon as the bike took, the whole bike just flipped. I can just remember I was screaming in my helmet because I was like, oh, I'm not going to make this one. Definitely not going to make this one. And what happened was the whole bike just flipped. It threw me over. I did a whole back flip, front flip, you name it. I did everything. And as I was skiing off the track, the bike landed on top of me. And the foot peg went through my leathers and, cut my knee open and had a lot of damage done to my elbow. Luckily, it was broken. It was just like a big, massive hole. Needed stitches, got stitched up. And yeah, I'm very lucky to say that I'm alive today because it was one of the scariest crashes ever.
Now, Chris, sorry, I sort of jump in there. Was that now after the race? Have you been back on the bike since that crash? And if you haven't, what are you doing mentally to try and keep yourself sharp and to overcome that? Because obviously, the sooner you get back on the horse after you've fallen, as they say in the old wives' tales, the better. But this long waiting period, are there little gremlins creeping in, or what's the mindset at this point in time?
Well, the crash happened just after the race. I think it was a week, 2 weeks. If I can remember correctly, the crash happened then. And yeah, okay, then the coronavirus happened, but I haven't been on the bike again. It is kind of scary knowing that I'm going to have to try and trust the brakes now, but it's all just mental, as soon as you get past that barrier of, okay, everything is fine, the brakes is fine, you just need to commit. And I'm sure I'll used to it. It's going to take a couple of laps, but I'm sure I'm going to be much stronger when I get back on the bike and faster.
Sorry, Chris. Chris, I'll sort of follow up there as well. So, Zaidy was saying earlier that he's going to join you in the Monaco series, but I mean, the first race that I saw you was at Red Star, and you're racing with Bridgestone Challenge. Are you going to focus on Monaco this season? And then also with your rookie season now on the 600, then what is expected from you from the team, and what do you expect from yourself in your first season on the 600?
So far I've done 2 races on the 600. One was on I think it was the Red Star Club race. First race on the 600, trying to get the feel of the bigger bike. Then it was the Bridge Challenge, which I decided to join Zaidy, confidence on the big bike, get it cornering, get it moving, get it. And I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, much more speed. And well, within the team, yeah, I'm still, brand new to the 600 and all that. I'm still getting the groove. But, having all the sponsors and just everybody backing you up step by step, it's such a nice feeling because every time I know when I climb on that bike, there's going to be people standing next to the track with me, my father, Vicarage, all the other sponsors, HJC, folks, keeping the bike clean, keeping it prepped. It's a really feeling knowing that you're backed up by so many. And
sorry, Chris, I want to
as you know, I am.
Sorry, Chris. Who's that handsome chap in the photo there with you?
That is my boyfriend, Willem. He's also been supporting me a lot through all this racing. I know it keeps those, but you gotta love it.
Yeah. Sorry. Please now continue. You're saying with.
I just know from knowing how Ben with Lundy and James with Mo, it's predominantly a male sport. It's not like we're trying to pretend. Yeah. We would love more ladies in the sport. It's a very successful division within racing. We love few. But it's always very interesting to see how the men react on the sideline or the pit wall when their girlfriends are racing as opposed to the female counterparts when the boys are racing. The ladies are so much more composed. Yeah, sure, there's one or two that kind of lose their marbles all over the place, but for all I know, like Zoe and Terry, there's a whole bunch of them that keep their cool and their demeanor, where the men just lose their mind completely, and it's jumping and it's shouting. I mean, how does your boyfriend compare in those two drastic sides of the norm? Is he a calm, cool, and collected person, or is he a frantic screamer?
Okay, there's usually 2 sides. Like, I mean, I know every time I go out and, getting the race, he's like, always, please don't crash, please don't crash. I'm like, oh, you know, it happens, and you know, and I mean, with the recent crash from Melville like that, I mean, I can just remember because I wasn't there, but I called him and I told him, listen, I had a big crash, and he was just like, should I come? Wait, are you going to the hospital? Should I come? Should I do this? I'm like, no, calm down, I'm fine. You know, so there's usually two sides, but you know, he always supports me on and off track. I mean, it is a bigger passion, especially, you know, like the men always, it's supposed to be a men's sport, but now with a lady, it's, you know, it's a whole different thing. And I mean, he's into the cars racing thing, so it's almost the same. Mine's just more dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
Cliff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, it's important. It's important to have support from your spouse in that, because I mean, you guys are factory riders, but for all the privateers and that out there, when it comes down to going on holiday to Botha in December or going racing, most of us are going racing, so it's always difficult to explain to your spouse why there's no holiday in December. But support is very important, and I mean, it helps. And I mean, Zaidy's also, he commented on it earlier, and Chris as well. But you know, I think your spouses play a huge role in your mindset and being confident and positive or whatever. So it's very important to have guys, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends supporting you in the pit. And I think that's very important. So it's good that you've got the backing of your boyfriend in that. But I think you need to get him on a bike and teach him a lesson. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, he wants to actually start riding soon. I'm like, okay, fine, but you know, having me as a coach is gonna be like a big thing, because if you don't do it right, I might have to whoop your ass, you know.
So Chris,
I mean, I think Zaidy can agree.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but I want to find out from you guys. Chris, are you also looking to go to Zimbabwe later on in the year? Are you also joining Zaidy on that trip?
I would really love to join them. I've said since the day one that I want to go and do one of the Zimbabwe races. I've only heard great things about the tracks. I mean, Zaidy always tracks are so nice.
Yeah.
I mean, just the nature and everything there, the whole vibe there is amazing. Not just the motorcycle racing, the people, the food, everything there, you know. There's a lot of people sponsoring us from Zimbabwe and that side as well, you know. So if we go, they all know that we are sorted. We don't have to worry about anything because they always take care of us. So I really can't wait. So let's just hope this coronavirus, you know, blows off, and then we can do one of the races there in Zimbabwe.
I'm gonna jump in there because I've been waiting to talk about the race that you guys do there. I've seen so many posts and videos and clips of the Monroe and Reach team going there over the last couple of years. I have never been so keen to go do a race as much as I am to go do that race. I said in a few shows ago or episodes ago, it just looks like proper racing. I mean, the turnout and the support from a local factor looks amazing. The stands look full. You guys are absolutely like treated like superheroes there. I mean, so if you had to compare that, I mean, it's not something to compare with South Africa because it's so different and they don't have it as a frequent thing, I would believe. But how do you feel when you get put in a position like that, Zaidy, and you're actually on the podium, like you said the last time? Do you feel like a very sensational kind of feeling from them? And does that inspire you to actually be greater than you think you should realistically think of racing?
To be honest with you, you guys know being on the podium, no matter where it is always a great feeling. You know, you stand there knowing how well you done. You know that you've pushed yourself. You know, so you appreciate so many things at that time. You know, and it was kind of difficult to say whether or not it had motivated me more. I just think that I was at the point where my form was quite good at that time. You know, I think I learned a lot riding the 600. And when I went down to Zim, you know, I took all that experience that I gained throughout that year, you know, and I took it down to Zim with me. And, you know, all I did was just go out there, do my best, and I had, like I said, I mentioned the team was the most important part, without us not having that backing of the team, including Mr. Vic Rich, and all the other sponsors, I don't think it would have not been possible. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been possible being on the podium, but I think the motivation comes from the people around you, and obviously with all of that happening at the time, I took Zim as an experience, and I thought to come home and tell the rest of the racing community how lovely it actually, believe it or not, you sit at home, you think about Zimbabwe and you think about all of the poverty and all the politics and all the things that are happening in Zim, right? You'd never ever think that they race. You never ever think that races actually take place in a place where you hear all this funny things happening. But when I arrived in Zimbabwe, my mind was totally blown. From the day I arrived until the day I left. I mean, like Chris mentioned, the food, the people, the feeling, the vibes. Everything was quite great. And we actually shared the experience with so many different people at the time, and just to comment on the racing itself, Keith, the racing actually happens quite often there, which we don't know about, right? And that's why as a team rider or a factory rider, you'd obviously come back to your place or your place of comfort and or to your community and speak. So you let everybody else know and you make them aware of all of the things that are happening around you. As much as we love our racing here in South Africa, or here where we currently are, there's a lot of racing that happens elsewhere. And my honest thing is, I would invite each and every single rider that I've ever raced with, to take the time and come down to Zimbabwe. Believe it or not, we had a crowd of over 37,000 people. That track was filled from corner one till the last corner, and you guys can vouch for it. I mean, there's never been a crowd that we've raced with here in Joburg, that we've seen so many people, and it just actually shows the love and the dedication for motorsport on that side over there. And believe it or not, me coming from South Africa, going to Zimbabwe, the people don't treat you any differently. They're lovely people, and it makes you want to go back there. That's why I said I'm so excited to head down to Zimbabwe this year, and obviously, you don't race for no reason. You do want to win. You race to win. So my plan is work as much as possible, work as hard as possible, and obviously when we head down to Zimbabwe, let's hope for another podium position.
I actually just wanted to jump in there, if I may, because those kind of things, we keep talking about it and we definitely want to go, but like every time I say it, it comes from a privateer's mouth, so that means I need to work a bit harder to go and race a bit harder in Zimbabwe. How much does it help you to be motivated and just focus on racing when going on an away race? And Chris, the same goes for you. Like, we'll start with Zaidy and then we'll go over to you with the same question. Does it just help so much more to not stress about dealing with whatever additional finances that your sponsors and your team bring to your life? I mean, Zaidy, just in a short kind of answer, like, how impactful is that on your life as a racer? I mean, you started in your mid-20s. It's not like you're ever going to go to MotoGP. Not that I don't trust your skills and the capability, but let's be honest, the world champions are a year younger than you. 8 times champion. So, but like, how does that impact you, like on a long-term kind of thing? If you know for a year, there's so many things that's being dealt with. Like, does it change the way you race?
I wouldn't really say so, Keith. The only thing with racing away from home is that you gain a lot of experience. You actually learn so much more from different riders. You're so used to racing against the same guys. You know where their weaknesses are. You know where their strengths are. You know exactly where to push, where not to push. And then you go into this whole environment where you know absolutely nothing. And you just go there. All you need to do is motivate yourself mentally and tell yourself that, no matter who they are, you're still going to try to beat them, because that's what you're there for. You always want to do better. I'm not saying that you're the best rider in the world, or you need to have this thing, but you always need to tell yourself that without telling yourself that I'm gonna beat him, I'm gonna make sure that I get to that podium place, or I'm gonna break this lap time, without actually self-motivating yourself, I'll tell you straight, Keith, it's kind of very, very difficult, and I think that's my biggest accomplishment now, is that I've kept that motivation, the self-motivation, and obviously with having such a brilliant team and manager and coach, with me, it's just given me a whole lot more motivation, and like I said, it just boosts the confidence and it keeps you ready to race.
Chris, I just want to jump in there. So what about yourself? Because I mean, Zaidy talks a lot about confidence and mindset and motivation. What are your thoughts on that in terms of a mental point of view, and also like from a factory rider point of view as well? Is there extra pressure, or how are you dealing with that?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't feel pressured at all. It's, I mean, having all this sponsors and all the teammates, Zaidy and all my other teammates, Alicia, Marius, Cameron, Daphne, all of that, having them backing you up, it just boosts your confidence so much more, because when you get off the track, they're going to be there. But I mean, since day one, since I started racing, it's always been faith-fueled racing for me, I only ride for God, and that's the only one I do it for, I mean, there is a lot of stress before the race, but I've always said, get on that track, there's absolutely nothing going on. You only think about what you're in the next corner, how fast are you going to do that, how much are you going to push there. Everything just fades away, and as soon as you get off the track, there's a bunch of teammates, my dad, my mom, Willem, and all of them. I know they'll be waiting there for me, cheering me on, saying that I did a good job, and that's really the best feeling ever.
I think that, well, that was a really good answer. I mean, I don't know what to say. Did you rehearse this before we started the show, Chris? I mean, that was perfectly executed there. Guys,
I mean, you can ask Zaidy. I was pretty stressed.
No, I mean, if you guys don't stress about getting onto motorbikes that go 280 plus in a good straight and then crashing at a turn 1 at Raceday, you shouldn't be worried about having a chat with myself and Cliffy. Guys, I think we are unfortunately getting to the end of the show, but I want to say thank you to both of you for joining us, and the Rich Racing team, Uncle Rich or Vic. Rich, thanks for having these guys in your team, and all the sponsors involved, Cooks and Nut and Dit and Monroe. You guys need to promote your sponsors. We'll promote our sponsors on our own time. But thanks for coming onto the show, and I hope you do work out and still feel the motivation and the form that you have before the virus landed on our shores. And let's hope to see you back on track soon. So cheers from my side.
Awesome.
Cliffy, do you want to say goodbye to these two?
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thanks very much. I really appreciate having two young riders come on the show and just not only exude confidence, but just come across from a very motivated point of view. It's actually very refreshing to have on the show. So yeah, stick with it, keep it up, and hopefully we see you guys at the track soon.
Awesome.
Thank you very much,
you guys,
Keith
for
and
having
Cliffy.
us.
We really appreciate having us.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
To all our sponsors as well.
Yes. Don't ever forget about them.
Thanks to everybody.
You won't. Thanks, guys. Enjoy
Cheers,
it.
guys.
We'll see you at trackside soon.
Cheers.
Guys, I'm having a field day today on this computer with the internet bugs. Cliffy, but that was a really good and interesting interview. I love hearing from new up-and-coming riders that started off as a social rider, testing their skills, trying to get into a next level ability of riding a bike in general, and then doing so well, ending up in a good position, being at the 150s or the Bridgestone Challenge, and then working themselves into what we call or refer to as a factory spot. And for you guys at home that don't know what that means to a certain level, and big Superbike, World Superbike and MotoGP teams. It's the actual manufacturers that start teams. But it kind of means subsidized and supported racing, essentially is what it means. It means you've got a backer. The backer comes with support structures, and they help you with various parts of racing, be it bikes, financial support, training, whatever, mechanical, all that kind of stuff. Myself and Cliffy are definitely the hardest factory riders. We own our own factory, each in our own garages. We have a machine there supporting us and that kind of thing. But Cliff, I mean, that's such a dream, though. I mean, I don't think Zaidy ever thought about it. The way he was at the latter part of last season, I didn't think he was going to race this year. I mean, we were going to run the rookie project with 2 600s, and I offered the bike to him at some point. I said, dude, I'm quite happy to give you the bike just to make sure that he does continue racing. And then he landed the deal with Rich Racing, and it's changed him. I don't know how you feel about that. It's like in a good way. I mean,
you know, Keith, like you said now, it's quite, motorsport's a very difficult sport in that you know, if I play a lot of team sports and stuff like that, and you know, if you're having a bad time or a bad run of form, whatever, and you're playing in a team sport, you can have a nightmare game but still end up a winner. And you know, sometimes there's places to hide, and you know, like you can go out first ball and get hit for 40 runs and 1 over, but you can still win, and you still feel great because your team is victorious and all sorts. But motorsport, there's nowhere to hide. If you're having a bad day, it's very rare that you're going to win a race unless you Marc Marquez. So, you know, like, and people pick it up, and body language is very apparent on a motorcycle. So, you know, like he said, he was at some point he was considering giving up racing, and I think a lot of us have gone through that low of racing at some point. But the fact that he's picked himself up, it actually paid dividends to his season. And I mean, he picked it up last year as a privateer, and now got a good ride, got people supporting him, and mentally now he's so much stronger. So yeah, it's great to see. And it's nice to see when Oaks overcome and they stick with it, because a lot of times it's a lot easier to pack up and try something else than to stick with it, which is good.
Yeah. No, look, I mean, the support counts, and I mean, good on you guys out there keeping teams running and doing so much effort. So well done, Vic, and other guys in the industry that do support not just their own teams as team principals, but other riders from other teams. I've also noticed, you know, it's a very tight-knit community in the fact that you might own or be a principal of one team, but still contribute something to another team or other privateers, you know, and that's what keeps the sport going. So we motivate it to you guys. It's you guys that keep the racing going. It's unfortunate for me to hear that they are leaving the Bridgestone Challenge. I think that kind of caught me off guard, and then going to just Monaco, which is fine. I mean, there's no particular better or wrong. I mean, I do both also, so that's just my thing. But it's each to their own, and it's all about competitive racing. I suppose it's, you know, not something for today's show because we're running out of time. But it's a good topic to pick up in future. Hey, Cliff.
Yeah, I agree with that. But seeing as we're dawdling on, what's happening with the Motul moments? What have you been colouring in the lockdown period?
I need to admit, I don't know what happened in the beginning of the show. My internet was being shoddy and stuff, but I was talking about the Motul moments. Our friend and teammate, one of my reasons for racing ever, Mr. Gareth Jackson and Zoe Jackson, sent in a picture that Jeff Latham took at the same track. It unfortunately isn't an entry, and it's not part of the Motul moments list, but it looks amazing. Bike number 21. I don't know, Fritz, if you guys can ping that picture up. But the entries for the Motul moments from Don, and oh, look at that. That's Gareth Action Jackson, the number 21 in the ZX10 Cup. Unfortunately, he's not racing with the ZX10 anymore. Not though that they are racing at this moment. But that man's going to take up. There's Graham. That's Nigel Brunt and his submission for the Motul moments powered by Motul Colouring Competition with RideFast magazine. Speaking of which, there's Rob Portman, Uncle Rob, not so Uncle Rob because I'm quite old, but Rob, I'm sorry I didn't phone you to come onto the show. I couldn't. Cliffy, I've had the most hectic and frantic day. I need to tell you, I know it's lockdown, but the new future is upon us. And I actually have a message for all of you guys out there. We haven't touched on the corona COVID-19 virus too much. We've been trying to keep it lighthearted, focused on racing, focus on the sport, focus on the sponsors and the riders and the teams involved. But now, I just need to tell you guys, you need to just accept that we are where we are. I feel like everyone's waiting for something to happen. Everyone's dealing with shock, horror, and terror because there's no cigarettes or booze or whatever. We need to move out of it very quickly. Be positive, help each other, work within your network to support everybody that you can. I don't think there's a lot of people that are as well off as you think. So if you know of someone, reach out, be a good friend, and just be good to one another. I think people need to adapt and stay safe. I know you don't like the topic. It's done a lot of frustration building in your and all of our lives from the racing community and every other community. I'm so sure about that. But yeah, I think from the Raceday.tv and Hanging Cable side of things, you know, guys, just stay positive. If you need anyone, reach out to someone. I can't help you. I'm not sure half the time where I am working and rushing around anyway. But I'm here if you really need to chat. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. I didn't want to end on too much of a spiel, but, you know, messages need to be heard when you have the platform.
We can spice it up there, Keith. I mean, if you are still locked at home, I mean, Nigel Brunt's doing a fantastic job in his colouring in competition there. So I challenge everyone else to go out there and colour your hearts out and do a bit of competition. And then also there's RideFast magazine that I don't know when their new magazine is hitting the shelves, if it has, but they've still got online publication going. So if you are locked up in your house and you need that motorbike fix, then RideFast is still there with you during the lockdown period. So don't despair.
Yeah, I saw Rob and them and Donovan. They're all doing great shows and speaking to a whole bunch of riders. So please tune in. We'll watch party all of their stuff also. Motul Moments, powered by Motul Colouring Competition with our dear friend and photographer Jeff and Mr. Rob from RideFast magazine. The competition is running until the 15th of May. Get your entries in. We'll do another post after this episode on Raceday.tv. 5,000 rands worth of product package. That's a big hamper. That's something to with colouring and entry for. We've got about 17 entries to date, and they're getting quite intense. We'll do another rerun and post of them tomorrow. I just want to intervene and also say thank you to all of our sponsors and our brands. Suomy South Africa, Catch22DeadRabbit Racing, Bottomside, Provisual, Vatswaye, Ink Monkey, Hell's Kitchen Melville, Soulo, Clothing, and yes, that was it. I got it. I might have missed one or two. Cliff?
Dude, I don't know how you remember that every week. I'm impressed. But yeah, man, let's all be positive. Yeah, maybe you should write it down somewhere. But yeah, let's all stay positive. Thanks to everyone that's been backing us and everyone for tuning in for the show. It's been awesome catching up with Racer the last few weeks, and hopefully we go racing soon.
Yeah, guys, stay tuned to Raceday.tv. There's a lot of movement happening on our platform in terms of new shows. We've got Kyle Lawrence that's brought Talk Motoring onto our platform. We're very happy to have him with Raceday.tv in our team. Welcome to the platform. Support the guy. Go share and like his page. And then also Mr. Colin Hasty is going to do a few interesting interviews in the up and coming weeks. Support the channel. We're doing what we can. We'll do our part. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you guys next week, Wednesday, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Cheers, Cliffy. I'll see you on the flip side. Enjoy the rest of your week, young man.
Cheers, Keith. But I'll chat to you soon. I miss you.
Cheers. Cheers, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.